Welcome to another edition of the Hoop Scoop. I'm Jarret Johnson, and we're in the middle of the off season, and a lot of Tech's roster is set. As a matter of fact, I believe it is set. So a lot of people have been asking me, hey, can you break down the roster? There's been so many guys going, so many guys coming. Where is Texas Tech basketball's roster as it stands today? So I thought I'd do that, and I broke it down into three categories. Returning players, that's a small category. Transfers that have joined the program, and high school recruits who've signed and have joined the program. So let's get to it, starting with the returners. Kevin O'Banner, walking double-double, returning starter, very good player. I think it's huge that he's coming back. He had a very good tournament. His shooting stroke wasn't what it had been at Oral Roberts, but he had some big games. I believe the game at Texas, the home game against Texas, he was one of the stars. And again, in the tournament, the whole tournament, but specifically against Notre Dame, he had like a 15-point, 14-rebound performance, which really steadied the Red Raiders when it seemed like nobody else could buy a bucket, even wide-open layups, which was bizarre to me. But he was there. He made some big plays. Some other guys made some big plays. Like Marcus Santos Silva late, and the Red Raiders were able to advance to the Sweet 16. So getting Kevin O'Banner back, and I think there's potential for him to be even much better than he was last year, is huge. Also returning is Daniel Bacho, Bacho, he showed some real promise early. He kept getting better and better, and he got sick with COVID, suffered a little nagging injury, and seemed to struggle some in conference, which I really believe was due to those setbacks more than the step up in competition. He's a real asset to have almost 7-footer, that athleticism, that length, returning, great rim protector, all that is huge. I really like his potential. I think he could be good to great at some point. He needs to stay healthy. That's just it. That's been the story. Bacho is, illness, injuries, whether he was at Arizona or at Tech, and those setbacks, and he has to rebuild back up. So let's hope he can stay healthy and we could really see that potential start to shine. Another guy coming back, speaking of potential, is KJ Allen, Ford, junior college star, or Netflix star on Last Chance U, and he got some playing time late in the season and played well. He's a very good rebounder. He's a good scorer. There's evidence to believe this offseason he's expanded his game some. He needs to improve, his lateral quickness and all that on defense when switching. I think I said that before, and it remains the same. If he can do that, where he's not a lot of ability in Tech's defense, in Tech's no middle, heavy switching defense, then he could be, a big help off the bench again this year. So we'll have to see what happens with KJ Allen. So now as for transfers coming in, and there's a lot. So I'm going to glance at my notes to make sure I don't miss anybody. All right, Davion Harmon obviously he's hard to miss, transferring in from Oregon. He's also a former Oklahoma Sooner star. He's going to be your starting on the ball guard. And there's been I've had people ask me when I've done podcasts, radio shows, what have you, just can he be a facilitating type guard? And I was like, I don't know how. I believe they want him to be, but he can also be a score first kind of guy. And I do think as a penetrator and kick kind of guy to some other shooters I'm going to mention here in a minute, staying on the 3-point line, I think he could be effective in that area. And I also think he's a good defender. He's a good athlete. So I think Davion Harmon's going to be fun to watch and cover and for fans to root for. Pair him up with Fardal Zamek, who's going to make a heck of a front court with Kevin O'Banner. He's from Utah Valley, 7-footer, averaged, I believe, 19 points and 14 rebounds last season. I think a block to a block and a half a game. So he wants to improve his defense and have that on film for his pro career to get drafted at some point. He's going to be one of your primary scorers. Like I said, rim protector, all that. He can run. He's athletic for his size. So those two, Harmon and Amek together, are great. And then you have Kevin O'Banner up there. That's a really nice nucleus. But then they hear relatively recently Kerwin Walton from North Carolina also transferred in. His freshman year, he averaged over 8 points. Had a really good season. Averaged more assists than turnovers. Shot over 42% from deep, and he's a high-volume three-point shooter. He's a classic 3-and-D guy. Now, people have said maybe his defense isn't up to snuff, but that's why you come to Texas Tech, right, as a transfer, is to improve in that area and again, put that on film for your pro prospects. So, I know for a fact Mark Adams wouldn't bring him in if he didn't think he could play defense the way he demands. So, Kerwin Walton's going to be somebody to watch. If he gets his stroke back, because his sophomore year, he didn't get a lot of playing time, he didn't shoot as well, it was a smaller sample. Let's see which Kerwin Walton shows up, and if he's the freshman season Kerwin Walton, it's going to be a huge bonus to Texas Tech. That's just what the doctor orders, some consistent perimeter shooting. Adding to that is Jalen Tyson. He actually transferred in from Texas. He signed with Texas Tech, went with Beard to Texas, left in the middle of the season, joined Texas Tech, practiced with him, traveled with him, all that. Former 4-star recruit, highly rated recruit, 3-level scorer. I saw him during the term when he was traveling with the team, and he's a Big 12 level guard, or wing. He's a big dude. He's definitely put on some good weight, and he's deadly 3-point shooter, will drive and dunk on your head, good pull-up game, good on the break. I think he could be a good facilitator. So, really good player in Jalen Tyson at 6'5", 6'6", they're a guard, wing type. Damarian Williams is, your classic 3-and-D guy from Gardner-Webb, was an efficient scorer from 3-point line, from the field, and from the free throw line, known as a good defender, so perfect to plug in and play. If he doesn't start, he'll be one of the first guys off the bench for Texas Tech. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody on these transfers because there's so many of them. That's it for the transfers. So, all right, high school level, Elijah Fisher, former 5-star. When he reclassified from 2023 to 2022, he dropped down to a 4-star, but he's still top 40, 41 in the country, according to 24/7 Sports. He is an interior scorer from the wing, basically. Very good at scoring despite with the contact. Very good free throw shooter. Does not have much of a perimeter game. He's actually a pretty good ball handler and facilitator. It's just the one thing he doesn't have in his game is right now is the perimeter aspect of a pull-up jumper or 3-point shot. He's just not there yet. But he is very athletic, very good finisher. It doesn't matter half court, full court. He'll rise up and dunk on big dudes' heads. I've seen it. It's all over film. But he's very good at getting to the rack and creating contact, using his body well. He's very mature in that aspect, being very crafty with his shot and scoring. So I like Elijah Fisher. I think he'll be in the mix. I don't know if he'll start. He got some veterans ahead of him, especially since the addition of Kerwin Walton. So we're going to have to watch, but Elijah Fisher will definitely play, of course, former 5-star recruit. Pop Isaacs, point guard, 4-star point guard from Nevada. He, is your classic facilitator type. He after getting here, he had some former injuries that Texas Tech decided they should go ahead and clean up. So he had surgery. It was a hip or leg. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something with his leg. So he's going to miss some time. That's bad. Good news is he should return during the season. I don't know if it's going to be a month or two. I'm no doctor, but he's supposed to miss a pretty good portion of the season. But the good news is Lamar Washington also signed, another 4-star recruit. He was actually a 3-star recruit as a linebacker in football as well. Had some big offers, including from USC. But Lamar Washington, I think there's evidence that he could be a better facilitator than perhaps we thought a year or so ago in the recruiting process. A very good player, like I said, athletic. He's going to play pretty good minutes as a true freshman, so I'm really excited about him. And then finally, Robert Jennings out of the DeSoto area, the Metroplex area, 6'7", classic 6'7". He's a forward, but I really expect him to play wing. He's more of a face-up guy. He can be one of those defenders, athletic guys, get on the break. I think of all these guys, he may be, in terms of newcomers, a project, but he's a very talented player. He was a 3-star recruit, which now Tech fans are almost thumb their nose at because they're used to getting 4-star guys and now 5-star guys, but this is a very talented player. And I'm definitely excited to track Jennings' progression, his development. Be interesting to see if he gets playing time, significant playing time, or consistent playing time this year. Is he going to come off the bench and play 2 or 3 minutes in Big 12 play? We'll have to see about that. But maybe a year or so down the road, assuming he sticks around nowadays with college sports, especially college basketball, but be interesting to see how he develops and if he could become one of those stalwart defenders and a good player in Mark Adams' system. So It's a good roster. There's been the final thing I want to talk about is Clarence Dawny. I've said, gone back and forth on if he's going to be here or not. My current stance is the same one as the last time I talked about. I'm not expecting him to come back. There's one more scholarship roster spot available. So, according to Austin Massey, who does a great job reporting on Inside the Red Raiders, the thought is they're going to keep it open for right now, and then Dawny is not expected to be back. So, there's always one guy every year where it's like, is he staying? Is he leaving? Is he staying? Is he leaving? And Dawny appears to be that guy this season. So we'll keep an eye on that. And once something's announced officially, then we'll know. But right now, that's the word. That's the word on Texas Tech's roster for next season. And it seems like a long way away right now, but it'll be here before we know it. And man, what a talented roster it is. And they should be poised for another run at the Big 12 and NCAA tournament run. So can't wait. But for now, I want to thank you for watching, and until next time.